Hey, thanks for tuning in. So I got this Gazelle Overland Edition tent. I've used it a couple of times. I kind of wanted to go over the tent for you just in case you're thinking about getting this tent. You're not really sure. This might help you make that decision. I apologize. A couple of times during this video I refer to the tent as a 6-person tent. This is not a 6-person tent. It's a T4, which is a 4-person tent. I apologize for the mistake. So I'm out on the property camping again, and I wanted to kind of show my camping loadout. So that's pretty much it. We've got the rinse kit for showering and dishes. I've got my battery box and my inverter in the Jeep to power the fridge depending on what my situation is, whether the Jeep's running or not. Also, I can charge all my devices. This is the Monster X power station. Charge all my devices off of it. I've got a new tent which I'm going to get into. I've got my waterproof bags that all my bedding's in and my clothing is in. I've got my stool because I need help getting up out of the tailgate. I've got my chainsaw back there. I've got my air mattress. I've got my other tent for comparison, and just some odds and ends of stuff. Oh, I did bring the cartridge toilet as well. So that's kind of the basic load out in the back. That's all stuff that can be exposed to water without any issues. On the inside, I've got all my electronics and my dry goods. So I've got 4 of these front runner systems for all of my different cooking supplies, my camp stove, my collapsible sink, my coffee, all those good things. These things are great because they're flat and I can put all my stuff in it, and then they sit here in the back seat really nicely. They sit nice and flat, so fantastic. And then I've got my electric chainsaw that I brought out. So that's all my gear. One of the things I like about the Gladiator is that I can put all this stuff in without any issues. So, all right, let me get working on unpacking this thing, and then I'll show how this new tent sits up. So as I've mentioned before, one of the things I like about camping with the Gladiator, I used to be a hiker, and I used a lot of very small, lightweight hiking gear to do multi-day trips. You can't carry this kind of stuff on your back. But since I started camping in the Gladiator, obviously I can haul a lot more gear. So when I first started, I just bought some budget gear because I was spending too much money on the Jeep itself. But I picked up this Coleman tent. It's actually a really nice tent. It's very cheap. It's probably about 45 bucks. It's a 6-person tent, and it's got some darkening technology so that the sun doesn't wake you up and all that good happy stuff. So it's a pretty good tent. But it's a little bit of a challenge to set up, especially when I'm out here doing solo trips like I am today. And it's got 2 big long poles that piece together, held together by a bungee cord. And so you've got to get those all straightened out. Then you've got to feed the poles into a sleeve across the top, one direction, one the other direction. And then you've got to try to get one end stabilized on a pin while you go to the other side and get the pole to bend and get it set in the pin. Half the time, well, more than half the time, it slips out. And in a solo situation, you wind up spending a lot of time trying to set this thing up. And actually, last time I was out here, I actually cracked one of the fiberglass rods because I was putting too much pressure on it trying to get it aligned, and it was problematic. So I'd heard a lot of good things about the Gazelle, specifically the Overland Edition, but the Gazelle tents and the pop-up capability. But as you can tell, it's a lot bigger tent. So the Coleman 6-person tent, a little bit shorter maybe once it's made up, but it is 16.6 pounds, which is a monster for backpacking, but very doable for car camping. But the size of it when it's all packed down is only 25 inches by 12 inches. And it's got a loose bag, so it's easy to pack everything up and get it into the bag. Unlike a lot of backpacking tents, which you have to really compress to get them into their sacks because you're trying to conserve space. The Gazelle, on the other hand, very simple tent to set up, but instead of the 16.6 pounds for the Coleman, this is 36.6 pounds, so 20 pounds additional. Plus, it's very long at 66 inches by 12 inches. So it's 41 inches longer, and it does make an awkward weight. So it spins. It's got big steel poles on a hub system, and those want to spin on you once you get them out of the bag. One of the nice things about this tent is it does come with a very nice carry bag, and I have, as I showed a minute ago, had it in the bed of the Jeep. It has to go at an angle though, because it won't sit straight. Or I'll tie it to the top of the rack, just lash it down really well, and it travels well up there. So these are the two tents. I've tried the Gazelle a couple of times, and I can tell you I really like it, especially for a solo trip. But even more so for other issues I'll show you later on, the size on the inside and the ventilation. So let me set this down and I'll get to setting up the Gazelle tent. So the Gazelle tent, as I said, comes with this nice carry bag. It's got the straps, it's got a padded Velcro shoulder attachment, and it is heavy enough to need it. You've got these straps which tie it down, make it a little bit more of a compact package. And then you've got this big bag. It's got a pocket here for some tent stakes, which I'll show you in a minute. And those are really nice tent stakes, some of the best I've seen. So then it opens in the end, almost all the way back, just shy of the pocket, which gives you plenty of room to get this monster out of here. There is also a ground tarp, which I really like. So I can put the ground tarp out and make sure that it's properly, the site is properly situated before I put the tent up. So let me drag that out and I'll show you that. So this is the ground tarp. It's exactly the size, the footprint is exactly the size of the tent itself. So then we can get that out here on the ground and make sure that we've got the site situated. Now see, I set this up a little bit further that way. It's got a couple of stumps and some rocks over there, so we'll pull it back. Shy of that stump. And that is a perfect placement for this particular tent. So, nice heavy duty ground cloth, perfectly sized. It's got the heavy duty fabric ends with the loops on them so you can stake it down separately. I have not bothered to do that. Once I get the tent set up, I'll actually stake the tent down and then that'll be good. So, this is what I'm talking about. So this is over 36 pounds and it wants to flop. So it's a little awkward when you're trying to set it up. Not too bad, but it's definitely more awkward than most fully fabric tents. But once you get it going, then it sets up real nice. As you can see, it almost wanted to open itself. So it's kind of fantastic from that perspective. So you just spin off of this hub in the center and everything just kind of pops out. So this is a door, so I want that there. And then you just grab the loop and you just pull the loops out and they pop out with the poles. I do the same thing on the back and the other side. So at this point, you're ready to put the rainfly on. They've got a really nice design for this. So as you can see, it's all these are all pulled out and they're nice and snug, but the top is collapsed down inside. So that's kind of where you want that. So the rainfly is really nice because it has integrated into it these poles which stay in it all the time. With the tent collapsed like this, you insert each one of these poles into a corner. Once you're done, you can go inside and pop up the top, and it works really well. So let me go ahead and put that on there. it's a little breezy today, and normally tents can be a pain to set up when it's breezy, but it doesn't pose too much problem with this one. So, as I said, you just put each pole into there, all the way around, and you're good. So now, all you have to do is go inside and then pop up the top. So one of the interesting things about this tent is it has kind of a strange door. It works really well, although you do have to be careful if you're coming in and out at night that you're lifting your leg high enough to get over this, because I've stumbled a few times there, but for the most part it works out really well. So inside, as you can see, tent's collapsed in the middle, and all you do is push up on it, and voila, the tent is made up. Now it comes with the mesh bags on all four sides, plus it has this, which you can lash down and make a pocket space there, so you could put some linens or clothing or whatever. Now I tend to leave it down like this, and of course you could put it up here to get it out of the way, but I like having this available to hang my fan and my light on. So as you can see, there's a window here, but there's a window here, here, there's another door here, which I like having a similar door on each side, another window, another window, another window. So when you open this up, you get a lot of cross ventilation, which I really like. And here you can see the internal hub systems, right? And of course there's one up underneath this piece of cloth, and of course now you've got the airflow coming here. So then you just take each corner, you take your rainfly and you tighten that up. And it's done. No muss, no fuss. Now you can of course take tie outs, lash it to this, put a stake out if you're having problems with the wind. I have not spent any time in any serious wind with this. The little wind that I've had, it works really well. I've not had a problem with it. So if my usage of the tent shows otherwise, I'll let you know. But for the most part, it seems like a super sturdy tent. If you were, I do like to do winter camping. If you were to do winter camping and you had a heavy snow, the heavy snow on the top of it might actually create an issue. I'm not really sure with that, but I'm willing to deal with that. Don't really have too much of an issue there. So there you go. There's the Gazelle tent. That was super simple to set up. I guarantee that the other Coleman, it's not quite as tall, so I can stand up in it, but it's not quite as tall as this. The fact that this is almost square seems to work a lot better, and I really like this tent. I would have spent double, maybe even triple the time setting up the Coleman. Now, on the other hand, it cost a lot less. This tent came in at about $250, maybe a little bit more than that. So this is not a cheap tent, but I do camp a lot, and I intend to continue to camp a lot. So for me, it's worth the money. Your mileage will vary depending on how often you camp, and if there's two people, we've set up the Coleman a number of times with two people and had no issues with it whatsoever. It's fairly easy to set up with two people. Not this easy, but it's easy. So as I mentioned, it is a freestanding tent, but you want to stake it out, especially if you're going to have wind and you're not going to be in the tent. So I would hate to get out to use the restroom at night, have a good stiff breeze, and come back and find my tent collapsed on me, or maybe over there down the hill. So these tent stakes are really tough. So you've got a spiraled end and a really nice heavy-duty plastic handle, push bar, whatever you want to call that. This ground here is a thin layer of topsoil over top of shale. As you see the rocks, and down below it's pretty rocky. Now the shale will tend to move a little bit as you press through it, but regular old run-of-the-mill tent stakes have an issue. I've bent so many of them and not been able to get a certain corner staked out. So I'm hitting rocks, but I just keep moving it around and twisting it, and bam, that thing is locked in there good. They come with these little plastic tips on them because they are very sharp. And I probably lost most of these plastic tips by now, but that's they hit rock. But I wiggle it around and push it, and it's down in there really well. And there it goes. So they do have stake attachments here on the sides, but I haven't really found the need to use those yet. With the corners staked out, especially in this rocky ground, it really gets a good purchase, and I don't have any fear of this tipping over. If I was in super high winds, maybe I'd consider it along with some guy lines, but that works out pretty well. So there you go. Popped up the tent, staked it down, made up my bedding in record time, and now I'm going to camp for the weekend. And when I'm ready to leave, if it's not raining on me, I'll film the teardown process, because the teardown process is just as easy. So with everything all set up, you can see I've got the windows open. I've got both the doors open. Well, the screens are closed, but the flaps are open. All the windows all opened up. You get tons of ventilation in here. You definitely don't feel claustrophobic. Of course, the door, like I said, it's kind of an angled door, and you got to step up over it, but that's fine. And then inside, you can see I've got my sleeping bag on the air mattress with my pillow. I've got all my bags, clothing, everything set up, ready to go. I've got tons of space to just be messy and leave all my stuff kind of sitting out here, and just tons of room so I can move around. I can get up in the morning, stand up, get dressed, ready to go. I've got my little rechargeable fan with a light. It actually has a remote control, so I can hang it up here. I can put the remote control there at my head in that little pocket, and then I can reach up and adjust that at night if I need to. But you can see ventilation comes in up underneath the rain fly through these screens, and then you've got some netting here, so you can put stuff, netting on the other side as well, just on two sides for that. But then all those windows all the way around. Just a really nice setup. So we had a great weekend. Temperatures were real nice. Everything was real pleasant. The tent did great. This is my second time using it, I think. And it's just super easy to deal with. There's plenty of space on the inside. There's plenty of ventilation. It just works well. We got quite a few little breezes, nothing serious, but it doesn't affect the tent at all. It doesn't flop around or anything else. We got some rain last night. The tent fly is just still a little bit damp. The tent just works great. I'm telling you, the only thing that I have even the slightest issue with this tent is just this door. I understand why they do it the way they do it, but because it's got that slant right there, it doesn't have a lot of opening. And as I was pulling all my stuff out of it this morning, I continuously had a trouble getting me and my bags through there without dragging my feet across the threshold. So, but it's minor. I just have to keep reminding myself that it's like that. So, great tent overall. But as I said, part of the thing is the ease of breakdown. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys just how easy it is to break this tent down. First, you go around and you take all the little clips that hold the rain fly down. You take those, make those loose, and then you push the top of it and you collapse the top. Rain flies loose. Once you've done that, then you just push the sides in. Nope. I forgot I left it staked down, so you got to pull your stakes. And there you go. So this is the stage where what I was talking about before comes into play. So this thing is a little bit on the awkward side. It's heavy and strangely shaped. And not that it's difficult, but you have to kind of keep all the ends together while you're trying to get it in the bag. And there it is. Now they give you, which I like, they give this little bag so you can take your ground tarp, shake it kind of loosely, because normally we'll see what the temperatures were like, but you'll get dampness underneath and then you'll get dirt sticking to it. So having a bag to put it in, it's not too bad, but you can see there's dirt stuff here. Definitely doesn't look too bad. But then you can fold this bad boy up and put it in that little bag, and it'll keep the moisture. Well, it's a ventilated bag too. It's a mesh side. It'll keep the things from molding and keep the dirt basically from circulating around in the tent bag. So it's all zipped up. I'll just take the tent poles, put them in this little pouch. All the guy lines that are in there, and the tent stakes themselves. And everything's locked down. So then, as I mentioned, you've got these Velcro straps allow you to tighten up on the tent. There's one here as well, so then it'll be a little more compact. And there we have it. So as you can see, easy. My other tent would take twice as long, at least, to break down. So there you go. The Gazelle Overland Edition. I like it. So So hopefully if you're considering getting this tent, this video helped. If I didn't answer all of your questions or you have some additional information that you'd like, just comment down below. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, all the good YouTube stuff. Thank you much.